SPM 2011, paper 2. Use the graph paper provided to answer these questions. A company obtained a painting tenure of a government building. The building is to be painted with an undercoat paint and a gloss paint. The number of the tints of the undercoat paint is X, and the number of tints of the gloss paint is Y. So basically, this is the one that you want to draw in your graph later on. The paint works are based on the following constraint. First one, the number of the tint of the gloss pen stand for the Y, right? So we write down the Y here. Is not more than, we use a symbol of less equal. Can be that value, but cannot be more than that value. Can be less, right? 2 times we just understand it as 2 here. The number of tint of the undercoat pen, it will be X. So with that, we get our first inequality, which is Y is less equal to X. Alright? Let us look at the second constraint. The number of tint of the gloss pen Y is at least more equal 1/4 of the number of tint of the undercoat pen X. That will give us our second inequality, which is Y more equal 1/4X. The third constraint here, the total time allocated for the painting work. Now the question not talking about the number, but the time. At most 120 hours. The number of undercoat pen is X, right? And the painting hours is 3 hours. So can we understand this one as 3 times X? Same thing to the gloss pen, Y. 1 tint of gloss pen, it will spend 2 hours. 2 hours will multiply with the number of tint of gloss pen. So the total time allocated here, 3X plus 2Y. At most means we cannot more than certain value, right? It can be less. The sign we use here is less equal. 120 hours. With that, we get our third inequality, which is 3x plus 2y less equal 120. Each inequality will give you 1 mark. Question B. Using a scale of 2 cm to 5 tin on both axes. So we get ready the graph paper first. We draw the y-axis and the x-axis. Okay, let us look at the first equations. Y equals to 2x. We can plot a simple table. So usually if straight line, we just need 2 points. Okay, the first point, we always start from the y-intercept, 0. Okay, second point, maybe we can take 20. Then our y will be times 2, 40. So from the origin, we draw a straight line, pass through that point. When you label the x-axis and y-axis correctly, with the correct scale and the labeling, and the first graph is correct, you will get your first mark. Now, let us draw the second graph. Second graph also gives you the same y-intercept, which is 0. So we just choose any point that is easy for us to draw. Okay, when the x is 20, then the y can be 5. I put a point here and my straight line will pass through that point. That will give me my second graph. Okay, now let us look at the third one. We can form it into the general form if you want. Y is equals to negative 3/2x plus 60. The y-intercept is 60, but the maximum we can reach is 50 only. When we sketch this graph, we cannot start drawing from the y-axis. In that case, we have to find another 2 points here. Maybe I will start from 10. If we substitute a 10 inside, it will give me 45. So the second point, I can use 30 maybe. It will give you 15, right? That will give us our second point here. So just join these 2 points. Then we get our third line. Once we get all three line correct, then you will obtain your second mark. Your third mark will be given when you can shade it correctly. When the y is less equal to 2x, the area should be above or below the line?
Below.
Below. Yes. The inequality all got equal, so that's why I use the solid line. So you have to be careful. If no equal, then you have to use the dotted line. The second equation, we look at the red color. Y is more equal, that one is above or below?
Above.
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 Last one is 3x plus 2y less equal 120. Above or below?
Below.
Below.
Below the straight line. It's very obvious already. The shaded region is bounded by these three lines at the middle here. Then you label as R. So again, once you get the correct shaded region, you will get your 1 mark. B. Use the graph constructed in 15b. Find minimum number of tint on the gloss pen. So gloss pen in this case is our Y, right? So which means you want to find the Y. If the number of tint of the undercoat pen is 30. So in other words, the question actually asks you, when the x is 30, what is the minimum value of y? So actually very simple, we just have to go and find where is this x equals to 30. So it's actually here, right? So can you please look at the graph and tell me what is the minimum value of y when the x is equal to 30 based on the graph? The minimum is this point, right?
7.
It's more than 7 if you realize. Can you see that? 7 is at this point. It doesn't reach the shaded region, so we have to go up a bit. Go up a bit, it will be 7.5, right? But we don't have 7.5 thin. So that's why we go up a bit again until you reach the next whole number, which is 8. So in this case, the minimum number of thin of the gloss pen will be 8. Maximum expenditure for the pen if the price of the undercoat pen is 50 per tin. So undercoat pen is our X, right? So one tin will cost you 50. So which means the number of tin we have to multiply with this 50 ringgit, right? In order to get the total price you need to spend for this undercoat pen, correct? Same thing, the price of the gloss pen, it will be, in this case is Y. And the price is 70 per tin. So in order to get the price, you have to multiply with RM70. The total expenditure here for you to spend to buy both pen, it will be 50x plus 70y. What is the maximum expenditure here? Usually the maximum and minimum should be somewhere at the vertices, right? Either at this point, or at this point, or at this point, right? But logically, it cannot be 0, 0. If 0, 0 means you don't need to buy anything at all. So now we just have to check on whether is this point or this point will give you the maximum expenditure. Okay, now we refer to the coordinate 17 and 34. We substitute inside the equation for the expenditure. So 50 times 17 plus 70 times 34, it gives you 3240. Okay, now let us look at the second point. We cannot take the decimal in this case. Try to put inside the shaded region a bit. This point, it cannot be at 34.5, and we go in a bit, becomes 34. So it will be 34 and 9. That one is the closest point that you can take. So at 34, 9, substitute the value in. 50 multiplied with 34 plus 70 multiplied with 9, then you get 2330. And from here, we get our maximum, which is RM 3240. For C1, 1 mark will be given. 1 mark only, there is no working step. So for the second questions, 1 mark will be given for you to get the coordinate which give you the maximum expenditure, which is 1734. So second mark will be given once you substitute the coordinate into the equation of 50x plus 70y. So third mark will be given after you get your answer, RM 3240.